When Audi unveiled the e-tron, there was a lot of talk about the fact that they were asking so much money for a vehicle with so little range. People were comparing it to cars that cost less than half as much that had more range. But the fact of the matter is that brand value, quality, luxury, and all of that still has its place when you're purchasing an EV. And I've just discovered the Audi e-tron Sportback, the 2021 model year, the first in fact of this vehicle. And I understand why they want $90,000 for it. And we're gonna do the usual walk around and I'll show you why Audi wants $90,000 for this car. Now, in the past, I've allowed myself to get upset with luxury brands who dare to charge more money just because of the logo affixed on the front of the vehicle, but heck, a lot of us are willing to pay more money. And there's another thing. As far as EVs are concerned, there's no such thing as an affordable $30,000 equivalent to, say, my Golf Sport Wagon as far as EVs are concerned. So if you want something like it, the same amount of equipment with the all-wheel drive, with all of that, you're gonna spend $50,000 to $60,000. That's today. That will change in the future. Which brings me to the e-tron Sportback, which, when you consider that the base price in Canada is $88,850, it doesn't seem that crazy. I know it's a lot of money, but it's not that crazy. In the US, by the way, it's $69,100. I mean, just to sit or look at it, look at this thing. It's massive yet compact at the same time. It's a mix between a wagon, a crossover, a four-door coupe, even an SUV because it's so tall. The front fenders and the hood, it's like 4 feet off the ground almost. No, I'm exaggerating slightly, but it looks premium. It looks different. It looks special. It looks like an Audi. Somewhere that is worth paying a little bit extra. But wait until we get to the inside. This is a progressive, so it's the base model. There's a Technic also, which is $96,500 in Canada to start. So just to give you an idea what you get for $88,850 in Canada, well, you get leather power tailgate, Audi virtual cockpits, 20-inch wheels, the S-Line package, it's all included for this. My tester has the advanced driver assist package, which for a grand total of $94,200. Now, let's just do the usual tour. Once we get inside, I think you'll understand what I'm saying. Thankfully, beautifully, it is a true hatchback, which to me is very premium, very German. So Audi says this is about 615 liters of trunk space. I kind of believe it if you consider that you can store a few things under the floor right there. It's not enormous. If you need more trunk, just get the regular e-tron SUV. Now, maybe you got a glimpse of what's going on inside, but I mean, this is what one of the things Audi does best. The leather, the styling, the premium, the attention to detail. By the way, ingress and egress in this thing is very easy. Look at that dashboard. It's unlike anything else but what you would get in an Audi, which I suppose is something you pay extra for. Same goes for look at the multiple surfaces, the angles, the materials, just the styling. Now it's a word on leg space, which is enormous. You can slide the tip of your toes under the seats. You could squeeze 3 across as per the norm. But headroom, if you're, well, never mind, you know, if you're 6 feet tall with no hats, it's gonna be a little snug. So let's go on the inside. Totally, everything is totally premium. The attention to detail again. The surfaces, the stitching, the angles. This is actually, if I'm not mistaken, for the displays that serve to replace the actual mirrors, because that's actually available in some other markets, including Europe. But look, I'll just slide in on the beautiful, beautiful leather. I'll just slide in. I believe it's already on. Yeah, so nope, it turned off. There we go. So there's your virtual cockpit. It's beautiful, it's configurable, it changes. There's your main. Yes, I'm a guest. Okay, I mean, this is essentially, you know, where everything starts, and it works very well. The haptic feedback is superb on this. There you go. You can feel it, you can hear it. Same with down here for the HVAC controls. Everything works wonderfully well. The shifter, by the way, is pretty cool. This is the shifter. So that's for drive. You'll see it light up. And that's for reverse. And here's your park. Just in case you ever get the opportunity to move it, you'll know how it works. Storage is great. Door bins are deep. This is fantastic here. You can even, it's like a handle at the same time. This is where your cup holders are. This storage bin under the armrest, which is adjustable, is okay. Just the presentation, the look, again, the angles, everything is ultra premium. It's different, it's unique, it's very, very Audi. A word on visibility: the pillars are actually really thin, except at the bottom here it kind of gets thick, but because of the driving position, you can almost look over that when you're doing that left-hand turn. The steering wheel is fantastic. It's heated in this vehicle with a standard, in fact. What else can I tell you? The piano black is nice if you like it, because there's a lot of it on each side of the screens right there. This is premium. This is special. This is unique. This is why you pay more money. But that's only part of it, because taking this thing out on the road, although it's not the most powerful EV, it's still extremely refined and justifies. Anyway, I'll tell you more about that right now. Okay, so I started off mentioning, you know, about the range and saying that people were scoffing at Audi because this e-tron vehicle with a huge 95 kilowatt hour battery only delivered 350 some odd kilometers of range, when, oh my goodness, Tesla for that kind of size will deliver 500 plus kilometers of range. Although that may be true, the reality is, once you go over, say, 200 miles or about that, 320, 330 kilometers, for the very vast majority of us, on our daily drives, we will be good for 2, maybe even 3 days without having to recharge. Oh, it's upset because the car drove by. Unbelievable. So looking out for my safety. Anyhow, all e-tron Sportback models have the same layout, so it's a 55 Quattro. What does that mean? Well, it means that it has up to 402 horsepower from the dual engines combined. That's in overboost mode. It also generates up to 490 pound-feet of torque. You know what that is? That's the sensors that are covered up in muck. Ain't she great? There we go. Wonderful new technology, eh? What was I saying? 490 pound-feet of torque on overboost. Under normal driving circumstances, you get 414 pound-feet of boost. The power is, it doesn't blow me away. It won't blow anyone away, despite those numbers being considerable. The fact of the matter is, this is a 5,750 pound small, large crossover. So weight being the enemy always, this would have to have 550 plus horsepower in order to be truly entertaining. In that respect, it reminds me very much of the Mustang Mach-E, which, despite having almost 350 horsepower and almost 430 pound-feet of torque, it doesn't feel that fast. Now, you'll still manage about 5.5 seconds, 0 to 100 kilometers an hour in a sprint, and that was funny. That was my water bottle going down in the door bin. It's still reasonably quick. It's always about the instant torque, which it delivers immediately. There are various drive modes with your Audi Drive Select down here. My favorite has to be all-road, just because of the name. There's an off-road mode, because the suspension rises. Yes, in fact, with the Sportback, you have a standard active air suspension. Among other drive modes, you get auto, dynamic, and you can set your individual, which obviously I have, with the drive set to sport. The other options are balanced and efficiency. The suspension, as always, set to comfort. Steering, balanced. Sport is just needlessly heavy, and even in balance, it feels fairly weighty. Now I mentioned that active air suspension, and it is, on its own, one of the best things about the e-tron and e-tron Sportback. The ride quality is, it's comfortable, it's poised, it's smooth, it's refined, and oh, see that, just that right there, just rolls in and out of that rut as though nothing was there. Obviously, if you set it in, balanced or sport, that changes a little bit, but you do have the option of sport. The ride quality is incredible. I mean, it's, say, compared to the Mach-E, because I mentioned it, the Mach-E is tuned more for a dynamic drive at the expense of all-out comfort. The beauty with the active air suspension is that you get the best of all worlds at all times, and you can play with it when you want and how you want. As far as regen braking is concerned, there are 3 modes essentially. There's with the paddles behind the wheel, you can go to 0, then there's intensity 1 and intensity 2. Now, you can also play with the available engine or brake regen by activating an automatic mode, which will automatically switch it back to 0 after you play with the paddle. It's kind of useless in my opinion. It should be manually adjustable at all times, and then you just play with it when you want and not have to have it set back to 0 whenever it pleases. That brings me to charging. The e-tron Sportback is capable of up to 150 kilowatts of charging, which means that a 5 to 80% charge will happen in about 30 minutes, which is within the norms, at least the ones that are capable of handling this amount of power when being charged. All in all, the e-tron Sportback is, as I was trying to explain earlier, it's the price asked for it in Canada anyway, and the US for that matter, is well worth it. You get the Audi brand prestige, but you also get this interior, which is ultra premium. The fit, the finish, the technology, the displays. You get that active air suspension. These are all things that you don't get. For example, on a Polestar 2, even though it has an Öhlins adjustable suspension, it has nothing to do with what the active air suspension can do for the driving experience at the very moment that you're driving. So I think I said bottom line, I very much enjoy this EV. Remains pricey, but if you're in the market for something that will deliver very easily 350 kilometers of range without really trying, unfortunately my test drive is very brief, so I won't be able to travel anywhere near that far, but I firmly believe, final note, while I'm idling, this thing actually has an EV noise, which is very distinct, and I'm just going to go right out and say it, extremely cool. It sounds like there's an engine idling, and when you accelerate, it kind of, the engine note evolves with the speeds, and it's one of the coolest things about this. And to be frank, it's at least as cool as the Mustang Mach-E's propulsion engine noise. Anyhow, this is a fine EV. Pricey, but a fine EV.